Hello and welcome back to Blank Explain to You. I am Wes.
I'm Drew.
And you are?
Sawyer.
You guys don't know her. You've never seen her before. She's only been on 2 episodes. That's the most. So this is their Sawyer's third episode, and that makes her the
Most needy guest who asked to come on the podcast
Yes.
multiple times.
the most
The most
best
wanted guest.
the most wanted guest.
Yeah, most wanted.
We'll say
We'll go
that. So today, we're going to talk about college. I just graduated college on Friday. Drew graduated in
Congrats.
December.
And I have
Thank
3
you.
more
Thank you.
years.
So, what?
Yes.
3?
Yeah. I have to take an extra year.
She flunked one of the years, so she has to do it again.
Yeah.
It was a leadership class that got you.
No, I changed my major.
She changed her major.
Right.
Dang.
As most
3?
people do.
Do most people do 5 years, though?
No. Just people going into education.
Like switching from
A lot of people in education, at least at Bowling Green where I go. I don't know if I can expose myself.
You can say whatever you want.
Aren't you literally wearing a Bowling Green sweat? Yeah, sure.
No,
No.
but he definitely
He
played
blurs
soccer.
He blurs it.
He
Yeah.
definitely played soccer on the... What's your shirt
Yeah, I was
say?
on the team.
It's from Rome.
Most
It's
definitely.
William Shakespeare.
Did you go to Rome?
No,
Okay.
but my
John's in
uncle's
Rome
grandma
right
did.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in Paris. Sorry.
That's stupid.
Anyways,
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
education people end up having to take 5 years just because it's a rigorous degree at Bowling Green.
so
It's
they...
like what we're known for.
Or maybe they just are dumb.
Yeah, they try to like fit in a. That's true, but they try to fit in like a lot into one. It's just stressful.
Sure.
so some people
But
spread it out.
but so it's possible you could do 6 years then.
No, it's possible I could have graduated on time, but I chose not to.
I'm lost, but
So I'm hearing a lot of lies. Everyone does this, but like I could have not done it.
what I thought you were saying is that because you were in a different degree, that
Yes.
you took wrong classes, so then you couldn't graduate on time. But what you're saying is that you could have done the 4 years still. You just like, it's a lot more work to do that, so I'm gonna do another year.
Yes,
Okay.
basically. I would have had to take summer classes too, so it's like it's kind of like summer classes over another year.
Summer classes all the way. Just kidding. Okay,
Need my
so
scores.
we have 2 graduates here and one person who is going into their junior year / sophomore year of college.
You just call it my 3rd year. Keeps it simple.
Into her 3rd year of college. And we have done we all have like different experiences with college.
Yeah.
So Sawyer's a pretty normal experience, like went to college, there's nothing wrong, whatever. I went to a community college, I went online the whole time. And Drew started going to college.
Yeah, I went in 2019. I went for a semester and a half. Started that spring in 2020. Had to go home. Spent a whole year and a half, and then that was at home. Went back for a year and a half. Yeah, went back for a year and a half. So I spent 2 years on campus, 2 years off.
You also did a lot of
But
credits
I also
before.
did credits in high school. So I only did 3.5 years of college out of my 4, and a year and a half of that 3 semesters was at home.
And you did a lot of like extra classes as well. You didn't even need for your major, right?
Yeah, I only 3.
So
But it was so I could finish a minor, and it happened within my
yeah.
allotted time.
And honestly, what's really weird?
What?
It felt like you have been in college forever, but it feels like Kaylee and me and I, and obviously I was only 2 and she's only 3, and even you and like Grace and everyone that we're friends with, and it's like, dang, they're going to their junior year of college. What the heck?
Yeah.
It feels like
Yeah.
this, where you have felt like it's been, from my experience, like being your friend, it's
Yeah.
been like, oh, Drew's always been at
I
VG
think-
pretty much.
I think the big thing of that is like I started ONU when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
So that added, even though it was 18 credit hours, it added 2 semesters. So I've had
Right.
college classes for an extra year. And then being at home slowed things down so much where it wasn't
Right.
like, I mean, it was just doing nothing. So
Yeah.
I was in college. It was nearly 4 and a little bit years.
Yeah.
So,
As well as though, although we had all different experiences for like a year and a half, well, a year or more,
Yeah.
maybe 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know time
A
anymore.
year.
We all
Was it
lived
a
in
year?
the same town.
No, it was like a year and a
It was-
half. Yeah, it was a year and a half. Well, because the whole summer we weren't there. Well, because
No,
it was
but, like-
August to May, and then we skipped, and then August to December. Well,
yeah.
Yeah, so it's a year and a
August
half.
technically it was a year,
Doesn't
but
matter.
was I there the whole time? No, I was
No,
not.
Was I either? No.
No, especially that second.
The
But we all
weekends-
spent time together.
So yeah,
In college.
so yeah, that is true. So it was very interesting because we all had completely different experience, but also like a very similar experience at the same time. So I'll talk for a second about my experience. I was gonna go to BG, and then I didn't get like great scholarships. So I was like, I could like go and take on debt, or I could just go to like a community college. And I was still uncertain and like, I don't even know. I was trying to figure out what to do. All I knew is that we were gonna live together, or we're gonna try to at least. And I ended up, it's like, I forget why. It was just so random. I was like, I'm gonna apply to Owens real fast. Because I was like thinking about Rhodes a bunch, and they had like a network security program. I was gonna go to Rhodes and then go to Franklin University and get my bachelor's in cybersecurity. That was my original plan. And for whatever reason, I wanted to live with Drew a lot.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
But like I was talking to my dad a lot about it. I was like, oh, I want to live with Drew, and that'd be like a good experience. And he said, no, Drew's the worst. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. And so he's like, oh, but I think this community college is gonna be a good thing for you. Because I could have just gone to Franklin University like full time and done that instead. Because that's a completely online university it's a 4-year bachelor's program out of Columbus. And so I forgot Owens existed. And I was like, oh wait, there's like a community college in that area. So I applied to Owens and got in pretty easily. And my first, literally the next day, like, all right, you're good, man. I was like, cool.
Do you have a felony?
They did that for BG too, though.
Really?
I applied over the summer and like a week later.
See, I got in, but then I was like,
I thought it was a fake email.
I was waiting for a long time to get like a award offer back from them. I feel like
for BG.
Yeah.
She went in the COVID year when they didn't need the ACTs or anything. If you went to college during COVID, you're in.
Yeah.
All right, nice.
You did great.
Good job on your accomplishment, Sawyer. But
no, I didn't submit my ACT to a few schools. That's probably why I got into Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Nice.
Go Bearcats.
A weird amount about Cincinnati.
Are they Bearcats?
Yeah, my cousin went there for aerospace engineering.
Who is it? It's College of Cincinnati? Like, what's the college? I don't know the college in Cincinnati.
University of Cincinnati.
But that's what
UC.
it is.
Yeah. There's a lot.
Acting like I should know every college in Ohio, bro.
It's like
I feel like it's pretty
pretty much
popular.
OSU and UC. UC is the only school it's the only school that pretends that it's as good as OSU. It's great.
I really only hear of like OSU, Ohio University, and Miami, but that's just because I know a lot of people that went to Miami.
I mean, OU's known to party, and that
I feel like I've heard of
and OU are the same.
Okay,
I hear
all Ohio schools are known to party.
That's true.
But like, okay, OSU and UC are academically, especially like I'll say, like graduate education, are really known for those. Like PhD students at OSU, like UC, they have really good research come out of both of them. BG and OU, and BG and OU are like they're good schools if you want to school, and if you don't, you can get a degree.
Yeah, it's like a solid school.
I mean, if you want to go to BG and learn nothing, you can do that. OU is the same. If you want to learn something, you can.
I was about to be really mean about a major. Sometimes I don't think construction management's a real major because there's a lot of people in construction management.
A lot of people went to Owens and got construction management or like construction.
Shout out to all the construction people, but like it just seems like a really random thing that I know a lot of people are in.
Not shout out. I was watching construction people today, and I was like, "What are you doing? Why are you making like $28 an hour to like balance a hammer on your head?
What?
These guys were just really dumb.
Dang.
All right. I feel like it's just a weird a lot of people go into construction. It's like a good career.
Yeah.
But it's always so weird to see like, why are you getting a degree in construction? Like, what does that even get you? Like, I don't know. Obviously something, but
a lot of the cheer boys are in it. I don't know
really.
If that equates.
I think I see a lot of the sports people do a business degree.
Oh yeah.
That's what you see though when you.
I actually went to BG on a business plan, and like I sat down and the one, I don't know, dean of student admission or something real sat down. He's like, "What are you going to school for?" I said, "Business." He's like, "So you don't know what you want to do?" And I was like, "Pretty much."
Nice.
So,
UC is a real school. Good to know.
Yeah.
But so I ended up going to Owens, and I still don't even know. And when my first semester there, I was planning on transferring out to Franklin University. But then after the first semester, I said, I'm not doing this for 4 years. No shot. So I was like, I switched to just a general IT degree at Owens and got that done for like the 2-year time slot. But I took like 4 classes the first semester I didn't need. So that was kind of annoying, but it is what it is. And then I did like all my classes completely online. My second semester, I was like, oh, I kind of want to see this. I did like a class on campus, but then I never did it again because I was like, that kind of sucked. So I did it all online and finished up this week, and I graduated. So glad to be done with that. But what I thought would be a good idea and was not just like living at home and saving money. That might be the smart idea. But I was like, what? I kind of want to do. I think there's pluses to both sides. So I was like, I do want to like kind of live on my own, see what that's like. So I moved out with Drew. We lived together for a little bit. It was great. It was a lot of fun. I think it was a great experience for me. And we can talk more about that later after we talk about some of you guys' experiences. But I graduated. It was great. It feels good to be done. I have an associate's now of applied sciences, information system technology. So that is my degree. Drew, your experience with college. Go.
In 7 seconds, it was fun.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You were starting in a business degree.
Yeah, that was until orientation, so it's
Right.
kind of fake. Decided to go for criminal justice because I didn't want to. Honestly, my main thing is I didn't want to have like a for-profit job because for-profit companies can be kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Like something that earns
Like-
like it is a business for the sake of making money. Any kind of
Okay.
store,
Like policing's
any
not
kind of
to make money.
Oh,
Right.
maintenance,
Yeah.
like-
sorry.
criminal
You're good.
justice.
I'm
is like
still
a
in school.
state.
You guys
It's-
are
Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, like being a teacher is
So, like-
not a for-profit
Yeah,
thing.
your organization or like a church would be a nonprofit,
Right.
a volunteer.
Gotcha.
Although,
Okay.
like a
The
school is
fire
not a
department.
non-profit, right?
If it is technically, it's state.
Is it?
It makes money. They all do.
Right.
But its goal isn't to earn more
Right.
money. It is.
But does that
state-funded.
qualify as a?
Yes.
So
the state would be.
I never knew.
Well, it's state funded, so no.
Sure.
It's not a non-profit, but
Right.
it's not a for-profit. You know.
Yeah.
It's the state.
Like-
it's that we pay a lot of money for something kind of.
Right.
job.
Like Encore is a non-profit, but
Yes.
the Civic Center is for-profit.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So it's like just
That's
interesting.
weird. I didn't know Civic Center. Well,
Well,
they
they-
rent it out a lot more and probably.
I guess I don't know for sure, but they do like Broadway shows and different things. So and they're bigger, so I definitely
It would
they're
probably
profit.
be the center itself, because its purpose is more for renting the center,
Mm-hmm.
would probably be that way. The Encore could probably argue it's nonprofit because it's like a community or like arts type of thing where their goal is to
Where our goal
do
isn't-
shows, not to host them and earn money.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Makes sense.
And the only reason we like you would charge ticket prices so we can do another show,
Right.
things
Yeah,
like that.
You can
Upgrade-
earn. I mean, think about it. Churches earn a lot of money,
Right.
not nonprofits. But, so I went to school, criminal justice. My first semester was fairly fun.
Mm-hmm.
Would play. It was weird to me because like we wouldn't start playing soccer until like 10 p.m. You know, and like,
Yeah.
just everything's so late in a college life. You get back at like 12:30. You skip your 8 a.m. classes, wake up at like 9:15, 10 o'clock. You're like, well, gonna start my day and be out playing soccer till midnight again. That was different for me.
Well, it was weird. I remember when you came out for COVID, we'd go on walks a lot. Well, no, I just remember I was walking around ONU one time, and you were like, "This is so weird," because it was like 10 o'clock at night, and there's like nobody
Yeah.
out. It's like,
Yeah,
so I don't think it was during COVID.
it wasn't. It was before.
Right. It was just like, at BG is completely different.
Yeah.
There's people out all the time.
I mean,
and-
none of our our union doesn't close to 11 and stuff.
Right.
Like it was a very, I don't know.
well, that's my weirdest. When I went to visit John at OSU one time,
Yeah.
it was like 10 or 11 at night, and there's people like volleyball game, all this
Yeah.
different stuff. I'm like, what the heck is happening?
You have class until 9 o'clock.
Right.
So like you start things 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed that. I wish I could live my life on more of that schedule.
Yeah.
Like a good 9 o'clock till 2 o'clock schedule.
Sure.
You know, sleep 2 to 9. Not real life, but COVID was pretty rough, especially the first semester, because we had to fully transition. We stopped classes on Thursday, went home for spring break, and then picked up class on I think we had a week off.
Yeah.
So we picked up that next Monday, and they're like, we had to get all of our professors certified on Zoom to teach online courses, not just in person. That's a 3-day class. So their spring break was a 3-day class, and none of them knew how to do it.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it was a pain. Some of them couldn't figure out how to mute the mics for all the students. So
Yeah.
I still remember this. I guess it was the first day of the fall, but my professor couldn't figure out how to mute someone, and this girl had her music so loud it was like shaking her computer kind of stuff, like not listening. And we kept telling her, every single person in their messaged her, please turn off your music. And she wasn't paying attention. She was walking around a room, playing
Yeah.
with her cat, like whatever. After like 7 minutes, she's like, our professor posted in the chat, we'll be back on Wednesday. And just canceled class after 7 minutes for the first day.
Nice.
And we're like, all right.
Yep.
So, That was rough. I actually got my best GPA being at home because I had nothing to do but school.
Right.
And then went back, and I was like, it was weird to go back. A lot of back and forth. Never felt like, oh, I live here and this is home, or like just kind of a weird in between for a lot. We moved, stayed there for a year, kind of moved back for the summer, and then after we stayed 3 months for summer, we moved back for 4 months, and then moved back home.
Right.
So lots of moving. Classes were good. I think a lot of classes are a waste of time. I think a lot of the things I learned are irreplaceable. So
Yeah.
I think college overall is pretty good, but that's that.
Interesting. Sawyer?
I'm still in school.
Well. And that's that.
Yeah, so I went in freshman year with a psychology degree.
Yep.
Realized I love psychology, but didn't want to be a psychologist. So I switched the second semester of my freshman year. Yeah, at the end of the second semester. And have done one full year of education now. And have 3 more years to get a education degree for high school English. So that's my goal. And it was cool. I love college.
At what point?
I highly recommend.
At what point in your degree does it change from being like education focused to your specific, like, you know what I mean, to like English focused?
It's mixed in quite a bit.
Sure.
I have a lot of like literature classes.
Yeah.
But like, so it's basically I have education classes that it's like how to be a good teacher or how to teach adolescents.
That's a lot of psychology in that, right?
Yeah, I just took an ed psych class, and then there's classes that are just literature. So people who are just getting an English degree are in there. So it's not
Right.
It's just learning the literature, and then there's learning how to teach, and then eventually there's some classes that have those together.
Right.
But it's kind of like learning the separate components on its own.
And kind of combining them on your own.
Figuring
Sure.
it out. Yeah.
Sure. That's neat. That's fun.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be. Is that? Do you have any more? Sorry.
Oh no.
I'm kind of interrupted.
That's my story.
And
so
you
far.
go to BG. You've been living on campus, and you're going to be moving off campus in the fall.
Lived on campus 2 years, no air conditioning. Felt like I lived the real college life.
Seriously. When do you move to?
I'll move beginning to middle of August, and I have training for my new job.
What job?
Resident Success Mentor. So I mentor freshmen.
It is real.
It is. No, it does sound a little fake. One of our first days of training is hanging up posters and like creating posters.
You gotta know how to hang up a poster.
Yeah.
Two tape or 4 tape behind it or on the corners.
Is it the
That's
sticky
true.
gum or is
Yeah,
it the thumb
right.
tabs?
That's true. Sticky gum's
Or
the
is it
worst,
just
in my
clicky tape?
opinion. Yeah. So it should be fun.
Oh.
Definitely helpful.
Oh,
And
no.
the whole thing is like, I don't know what this is stuck up with. The whole.
I do like that it's crooked.
Is it crooked?
Oh, yeah.
Whoops. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so Resident Success Mentor, basically I'm mentoring freshmen. I don't really know. I'm getting trained, so hopefully that will help me. But basically, like, how to work our programs and if you should join clubs.
Interesting. And you were one of the mascots.
I was also Freddie and Frida Falcon.
Past year.
My name should be on Wikipedia, but I don't think it is yet, so I'm a little sad.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they just have like a list of all the...
They have, like, a list of all the past and present ones. But it got, like, taken out. I don't know. The lore. There's, like, a lot of...
Who knows what really happened?
Never know.
Interesting. Neat. So we lived... we all lived in Bowling Green. Oh, I feel like we've talked about this so many times. But we lived together for a year. And then I went home this summer, and you did as well, but you still like paid rent in VG because another Drew's old roommate moved in with him because he needed a place to stay. I was like, I don't need to be in BG for any reason. And then we all moved into a sort of weird looking house thing, and again, and that Drew and I joked about this the summer when we moved in for the first time in 2021 that we hung out less when we were living together. Mm-hmm. Because I was really busy. I don't even know what I was doing. I was like always going back to Ada to see Kaylee, and I was working at Beer Barrel every night, all this stuff, and doing classes in the day. And like over the summer, we saw each other every single day.
Yeah, so over the summer, to preface, we worked together 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
And then we did a play together at Encore, and we hung out. So we'd work from West at 9 to 4, and then 4 until at least 10.
Right.
Usually till 2, we'd be at Encore.
Right.
So we're spending,
most
16 hours a day together. We move in, hang out for about a week, and then we see each other maybe 5 to 10 hours a week.
Right.
Like, it was ridiculous.
It was very interesting.
Yeah. And then it got even less when we moved to our other apartment.
Yeah, the other place was insane because you had an internship in Lima.
Realistically, how many times do you think we've both spent the night at that house at the same time?
Honestly,
Yeah. In 4 months.
like maybe a week or two.
I'm going to say 8 days in 4 months.
Sure.
We're probably together.
At the same time, yeah.
And one of them was your bachelor party.
I don't know how you guys did it though, because you guys really did travel a lot for
All
like
the
what you
time.
guys were doing. Like you guys were just always constantly on the go, and like I was just in BG the whole time. I had nowhere else to
It
go.
was the
but-
weirdest experiences. It was the weirdest experience for me, like last August, because I was working. I had a full-time job at that point. I'm also a full-time student. I'm also helping my fiance plan a wedding in 6 months, right? So it's not like, the whole year. Like we were doing a shorter amount of time than usual. And then just hanging out with my fiance, and she lived an hour away. All those different things. Like, it was the weirdest. Like, I was everywhere, and I directed a play, and in that time, a musical, right in the beginning couple of weeks that we lived together in that second place. I think I did another thing too in that time, but I don't know.
I feel like college kids have a resilience to them though, that you can just do
Seriously.
so much.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, that's like, but like,
It's weird. Yeah, I know what you mean, and I feel because look at Drew. Drew was full-time college. He was 100 hours on an internship. Like
400.
400. Was it 4?
400 hours in 10 weeks. So I had to do full-time interning, 400 hours in 10 weeks, and 3 college classes.
I will say the hardest
maybe.
thing, in my opinion, in all this business, is maintaining like a relationship.
Yeah.
Right? So you're doing like 400 hours in an hour away, but also your girlfriend lives in BG.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, like it's a good thing, but you have to like go back and forth. And that's
Yeah.
what I was doing too. And it's like,
yeah.
I could do those stuff a lot easier.
Oh, yeah. I
know.
mean, for me, it was go to a 11 o'clock class on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Go have a break for like 4 hours. Usually we'd hang out and get lunch on Wednesdays. I'd have class from 6 to 7:15, say bye till 7:30.
Right.
And then I would get there, I'd go home, drop off my dog, get to the sheriff's office by 9:30 or 10 usually, intern from 9:30 or 10 until 4 in the morning,
Right.
and then go to bed at 6, and then wake up and so I'm switching from, first shift to third shift, and it's snap of a finger. I'd go, sleep till 10, maybe. I'd go back and intern again, because in 4 days, I had to get 40 hours done. So I'd usually work a 6-hour shift, an 8-hour shift, and 2 10s. And then I'd go back to Bowling Green after that.
Mm.
And my last 3 days, I did 13-hour shifts, 3 in a row.
Insane.
And for us, it was like the beginning of our relationship, so I felt like it was a lot more like see each other, or it was like scary, if not.
Yeah.
So I feel like now I could be like, oh, you can have some extra time.
A
for
little
yourself.
easier, sure.
So like, yeah,
But
definitely was.
also, like, when you're in a relationship, it's the first little bit, it's, like, weird, because, like, you just don't know, like, what's normal, like, what's, like,
Right.
what, what I mean, even if, because this happened to me and Kaylee a little bit when we just first started dating, it's like, I know that I shouldn't, like, it doesn't matter if we don't maybe text 24/7, but then I get in my own head and think, well, I'm sure she wants to, and you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just a big, like,
yeah.
and then you just get really stressed out on all these different things that like, don't really, that don't matter, you shouldn't do, or shouldn't care about. But then, like, well, the other person probably does, and you just don't know how they think yet, and all this.
Yeah.
It's a big mess. But college is weird. I think the biggest thing in college, this is gonna be sad for some people, but like, you gotta have a good set of friends, if you want college to be what they talk about, like, in books or movies or whatever,
Yeah.
or just what people say, that, like, some of the best years of your life, like, having some friends is really what makes it the time of your life,
I think so too. Kind of on that is realizing for your freshman year, I feel like people don't talk about it enough, but like freshman year is hard. Like the first semester is probably like the best and worst thing I could have went through in my life, because I learned a lot and had to be on my own. But like I didn't find a lot of friends
Right.
at the beginning.
Right.
And I didn't, but you have to keep putting yourself out there, which is so hard, because it's like, oh, there's this event. Do I really want to go? Or I could
Yeah.
just be in my room and like not.
Hang out alone,
But then it's
yeah.
like you have to have that first really awkward meeting with people where everyone's just trying to find a friend.
Yeah.
But no one really knows who they are even, or if
Yeah.
they're going to stick with their major or anything. in it.
Right.
But it's like, I think if you can get through the first semester, if you realize after first semester college is not your thing, I say drop out, because I think it's too many people stay in college when they shouldn't.
Yeah, sure.
Like too many people think they you can be successful without a degree. I've seen it happen, you know, like you don't have to, or you can kind of like what Wes did. He went to college, but he lived in our college town. So you still got the college experience while being online, you know, things like that. But if you make it past your first semester, kind of what I was saying, I think you can
And I think,
learn
too,
a lot.
even if you make it past your first semester, you don't have a ton of friends or anything, that's fine. Or you're not, like, feel like you're not living this crazy life. Like, I think it's okay to reevaluate and go, like, you know, like, should I stay in for the school part? Like, that's a very good thing. Like, do I need this degree? Yes, okay, cool. I'll stay in, and even if I don't have a lot of friends or whatever, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'll just, you know, stick it out for a few years, and it'll be all right. Which is why I think not important, but a good part of college is to get involved in, like, groups, you know?
For sure.
Because that's such, like, a cheater's way to make friends, you know? Because if you do something you're interested in, and you join a group for it, let's say you're interested in, you know, theater, right? And you join Anyway, did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
What was it?
I don't know.
Okay, if you join, like, a theater group, you know, odds are you at least have something in common, you could talk about things or whatever.
There's a group for, like, everything nowadays.
Right, and it also depends on which is why sometimes I think
yeah.
a bigger college is better than, like, a small town college, because, like, the opportunity to
I
do
will say,
things.
on a counterpoint, in a smaller town college or a smaller college in general, it feels like your classmates you're a little closer with, because you usually take like 4 classes together
You see
and
the
they
same
get lunch
people.
and
Yeah.
like when I took class at Ohio Northern, I noticed like all the people in my classes had like groups of 3 and 4 friends that did all of their classes
yeah,
together.
You're right. Yeah.
And when there's 6 options for each class, even though me and my CJ people had to do the same thing, I'd only see 2 or 3 of them in each one.
Right.
Because there's so many
That's
options.
a good point. That's a good point.
I feel like, too, on Friends, I've realized the older I get, you don't have, like, 10 super close friends. It's okay to have just, like, 2 really close friends and then, like, a bunch of other people you hang out with. Because I think people think when they go to college they're going to, like, meet this, like, big friend group that they're going to, like, do everything with. That, like, I'm in a sorority. We can touch on that if we really want. But, like, I feel like I'm, like, getting closer to 2 of the girls and then just, like, kind of friends with everyone, which is nice. I don't have to be, like, know everything about everyone's life. But it's more of, like, socially I can hang out with a bunch of people. But, like, am I really going to have, like, best friend connections with all of them? No, and that's okay.
Would you say that you're still closer to your old friends?
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's different than a lot of people.
I think that's
I
the
got lucky,
interesting
I think.
thing, or the intriguing thing about sort of the group of people that lived in BG was that, you know, we all so our primary group of friends was people that we all knew each other already, you know, from high school and stuff. And it just so happened that, like, I think you and Grace living together was a big part of it.
Yeah.
So you guys ended up going there, and it's kind of like, we're already friends with these people, so I didn't feel like I had to try and go find out some new friends or anything, which I couldn't have done anyways, really, in my situation. And I thought that's just a unique thing about our group of people, because even you or Grace or Alyssa, people that lived on campus, I feel like your primary friends who you, like, spent the most time with were the people you went to high school with and just happened to go to the same college together, and we all hung out. Hung out.
I think I grappled with that for a little bit of, like, am I supposed to be making a bunch of new friends?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to, like, be meeting these people who,
Right.
you know, people like, you meet your bridesmaids, you meet your best friends, you meet people, whatever, that you live with. But I think, like, and I've talked with my mom about this, like, I just got really lucky that I made a lot of good friends in high school, which doesn't happen for a lot of people.
Right.
That, like, I even have friends who don't, you know, live in this state, and I'm still super close with them, that I just got lucky that I built those friendships that carried over into college. I think for most people, they just find that in college.
Yeah.
So it was, like, a little backwards that, like, they came to college with me, but I think we just all got lucky that we still, like, had that close connection.
Yeah. I wouldn't have had I feel like any sort of experience of, like, college, you know, that, like, lifestyle, I guess you want to call it, if I didn't live with Drew. Because I feel like Drew was my connection to BGSU and anything that happened.
We did
like,
our film festivals, our churches and
you
campus.
You met a few friends, though. Your freshman year roommate.
My roommate's my friend. I haven't talked to anyone else in at least.
But I would say you branched out in the beginning and, like,
in the beginning, I had,
with
like, a group of, like, 8 people. We get lunch. We all lived in the same floor in our dorm. So we would, like, you know, walk out your door. Everyone's door was open, which is really weird for college, but it was cool.
Yeah.
And, like, your door's open. People would walk in and say hi. I'd never go more than... I mean, in a day, we'd have at least 10 people, like, come over to my room and, like, say hi. Mostly looking for my roommate.
Dude.
And sometimes if you're trying to change, I'd, like, lock the door, and they're like, is Logan in there? And I'm like, no. Just me naked.
The one time I visited Drew and BG, like, me and John went, and Drew, like, went to the bathroom, so we're in his dorm room, and, like, 3 dudes walked in, like, walking, hey, is Logan here by any chance?
Yeah.
We're like, I don't know, man.
Like, the amount of personal space I did not have. Like, I would try to go to bed. I'd be laying there. It's, like, dark and whatever. I get off my computer. My roommate's watching a show. It's 1:30. I got an 8 a.m. I'm trying to go to sleep. 7 people show up in my dorm. Pull up chairs. They bring a chair from across the hall and everything. And there's 7 of them. I'm like, this dorm is a 8 by 10.
Yeah.
This is not big enough. So I'm like, I want to go to bed. And 3 more people show up. We have 11 people in this dorm room.
Right.
I'm like, you have 1 square foot for yourself.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And I'm like, go to bed. Please go somewhere else. Like,
right.
2 of you have to be roommates. Go to your room.
I will say one of my biggest suggestions, though, is living in a dorm with a roommate. Because I think you grow a lot. Or living with a roommate.
Yeah.
Because you guys were in an apartment. But coming from an only child who did not...
That probably matters more when you're an only child.
It does matter a lot when you're an only child, I guess more. But I think I learned a lot. And also, like, how to... You're gonna
just
have
how to function with somebody
just
else.
how to live with someone else.
Here's a
you're
question:
gonna have to work with other
do you
people,
think it would have been better if you had lived with a rando your first year? Because you did, and you lived with a friend from high school.
Yes, I lived with a friend from high school for my first year, and then this year I had a random roommate. Honestly, it was pretty similar experiences.
Yeah.
Like less different than I thought it would be. I was definitely more anxious going into with a random roommate because I just got lucky and got a good random roommate.
Right.
Like, it definitely could have been. But I think it's the same obstacles you face of just, like, learning what's okay to do with someone else or, like, how to balance someone sleeping versus someone, like, staying up and studying. I think it was the same obstacles. I was more comfortable talking with my friend because
your friend.
we're open with each other. But I don't think it would have changed. My experience, unless I would have met more people, but I didn't like meet a bunch of new people.
But I say, like, I wonder, like, socially, was it, you know, because, like, if you lived with a random person your first year, you're a little more forced to, like, I feel like there's a connection there that you don't have with
the bigger difference that would have happened is if we didn't live in Bowling Green.
You think?
You know
so?
what I mean? Yeah. Because if we did, I mean, that's 90% of what we did was hang out together. It's you and me and Grace and Wes and, you know, Alyssa.
Whoever was around, yeah.
And if your high school friends didn't go, that's a much bigger difference.
You're kind of,
I mean,
I think I've heard people say that, like, after they roomed with their friend, like, they weren't friends anymore. Yeah. Like, I don't know what relationship that was. Me and Grace had a great relationship, so that wasn't a problem. I think, personally, for me, it was better because I always had someone to do something with when I didn't want to push myself to do it. So it's like, okay, there's this event. I want to go. Do I want to go by myself? No, but maybe I can drag Grace along and we can do it together, and then we meet people together.
And it's interesting because you're already friends, so it's not like, well, I'll start to be, like, kind of on my best behavior with this other random, you know what I mean? Like, because I feel like the cool part about that is, like, if Drew and I are going to do something together, I don't feel like I have to, like, also be trying to entertain Drew while I'm trying to meet a bunch of new people.
And think about, like, work. When we work together, we just instantly, we're best friends with everybody because it's a lot easier to talk. Right. I mean, if I'm like, hey, we're going to go do this thing, do you want to go? And we'd pull people from work to actually hang out. That doesn't happen. When I work by myself, I'm not like, oh, hey, random person, come hang out with me now. We're work friends. We're not friend friends. Mm-hmm. But when your friend is doing something, you can invite a work friend. And that did help.
Yeah, I think we pushed ourselves in certain ways of, like, oh, I think this person's shirt's cool. Should I go tell them? And it's like, well, if they think I'm weird after that, I still have my friend to laugh about it with. Like, we could push each other, and then if it all else failed, like, you had that person with you. So I think I was lucky in that sense that we just had a good relationship like that. I definitely think it's something that you do need to consider, though. Like, are you really good friends with this person, or do you just want to do it for convenience sake?
Yeah.
Because I think for convenience sake, that's where you can be like, maybe we didn't get along as good as we thought in high school. Like, maybe there are some things, and then the relationship can suffer. But I think we really took a lot of things into account of, like, definitely conflict management. Like, we were like, if there's a problem, we have to talk about it because we didn't want to get to that point where, like, we didn't like each other.
I also feel like an interesting thing is that a lot of times in college, you, like, your first year, you, like, change a lot and you grow a lot and, you know, you get a lot more responsibility, all these different things. Where I feel like, especially in our situation, or I guess in my situation, because you had already been in college, but and I think that could be one of the reasons why when people room together as friends, like their first year or something, it's like it can have a bad effect because they're like changing, but then there's also this person that we're a different person with a couple months ago, and so it's kind of a weird thing. But I feel like in some situations like ours and your guys is like there's already a lot of growing and maturity and responsibility that was happening before we even got there. It's kind of like I didn't change very much. I didn't change that much when I went to college, right? I'm still kind of the same.
And I think some of that comes down to like truly I was just lucky that like we stayed kind of the same people
Right.
and we had some of the same interests and like we didn't change completely. I mean, I could have went and it's like your roommate becomes a partier and you're like you don't see him ever. Like it could happen.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there are instances, but like all of us did pretty much stay. Like I mean, we all grew personally, but I don't think socially we changed too much.
Right. Didn't completely become like a outgoing and used to be super
Yeah.
introverted, whatever.
You want to talk about the fun side of college?
What's the fun side of college?
Like what do you guys think like benefited like
Nothing.
social wise?
It sucked.
Wes didn't have.
Or was
any
it
social
boring?
life
You
in
can say it was
college.
boring.
I mean, I didn't really have a social life. If I'd moved to
You
BG,
can talk about the film festivals?
yeah, well, let's just say I moved to BG on my own and didn't have any friends that went lived in, or like high school friends that went to BGSU and lived whatever. I wouldn't have done anything except hang out with people I already knew in BG. And that's just what it would have been. But so for me, what was fun about college is kind of becoming a lot closer to people that I wasn't. Not that I wasn't close with, it, I have like our relationship grew a lot. Mine and Grace's relationship grew a lot. Even Alyssa, I'm a lot closer to Alyssa now. And it's people that even Gabe and Drew and people that like. It's weird that I was like very good friends with before, but now it's like just tenfold, and that's something I appreciate a lot. Because there's like relationships in my life that I am not, I think some people in high school, you're like, yeah, I'm friends with you, but like, when I go to college, I'm not that concerned about,
Right.
like, you're not my forever friend,
Yeah.
But a lot of people I know was friends with in high school, just going to college together, or, that to me was very nice because I could just grow my friendship with these people I already knew that I care about a lot, and I'm completely fine with them being like in my life forever, So that was cool that I was able to just grow those friendships and not have to make new friendships when I was perfectly content with the friendships I already had, I think the one college thing that the only like college activity I did was the film festivals.
Which go to West Island Vlogs and you can watch all our films.
Yeah, they're all there. We've done 8 or 9 of them so far. And it's just a short, so it was a fun thing that my brother did before because he went to BGSU in the film program. And it's like you have a weekend to make a film, and there's challenges and different teams and stuff, and then there's like an award ceremony after the weekend's over.
With great prizes.
With great prizes after the award ceremony's over. And that's the only thing that I felt was and I appreciate that a lot too because it let us kind of do what we do best, be creative. We're a friend group that's always done creative things together and been a very creative group, from where we met and different things. So I feel like it let us thrive in that and continue that sort of thing,
And we did meet some people.
That's true. And through that we've met a couple of. Is it more than? Yeah, I guess like three people, and I think that's been some cool relationships and just people you wouldn't. That's what I like about things like that and clubs and things like people you just wouldn't normally meet. Like I never would have met Elliot and stuff, and that could be something that in the future, like we work together in a professional sense, of like just connections and things that you maybe wouldn't have. I think that's what college is really good for too, is like connections through different things.
Yes, my dad would say connections are the biggest thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's why join clubs, even if it's like you don't know what's going on.
Like the horse club.
A good little tip for college, it's literally, and you'll hear it a million times if you're going to college, it's who you meet, not what you know. Or who you know, not what you know.
Yeah.
And that's just very true. You're not getting a job with the same degree that 85 other people have if you don't know somebody.
Right.
So.
Not that it's relevant, but Wes did bring it up. Do you want to? Can we tell our story of how we went to the horse club?
Sure.
You want to start it off?
Go for it.
Oh, okay. Well, so we were trying to go to a social work club, and it was in this building, and we thought we had the right, numbers or whatever. And it's me, Drew, and my roommate, also friend Grace. And so we go and we see all these people in this room. So we're like, okay, that must be the room. We go in, and there's a bunch of people. They have to pull up chairs for us specifically because we were like the last people in. And we start to sit down, and they start talking about.
Also, sorry,
Yeah. No, go ahead.
but like
Chime in.
to preface, this isn't like, oh, there's 3 or 4. There was probably 30 people in this room.
Really?
Yeah.
Like there
Maybe
was
2 guys though.
Yeah, I was the only guy there.
Okay, I was like, there wasn't many.
And there's probably 30 horse girls in here sitting around, and like it doesn't really matter, but it's kind of like almost like this if there's another table over there, like it's a U-shaped tables. They pull up another table behind that one to like put our 4 chairs there specifically. So then, or 3, we sit there.
And they pass a sign-up sheet.
They pass a sign-up sheet, so we all sign in, and we're like, what is this?
Yeah.
They have no snacks or anything good. And
What
these
the
people
heck?
look weird.
Yeah.
So
They could
I'm
at least have
judgmental.
carrots.
I can live with that.
Yeah.
So then they get started, and they're like, make sure you get all your sign-up, that you're here. If you're here, you have to pay the club fee by next week. And we're like, okay, when?
Yeah.
And we're not coming back next week. I guess I'm not paying to be in a social work club.
Right.
Then they turn on the PowerPoint. Bam. Horses. Welcome to the first equestrian meeting. And then Sawyer's like, stand up. We're leaving. And I said, you stand up. I'm not.
I'm not going.
No.
We were in the wrong. We're like looking at
And
each other.
we're in the
so
wrong
bad.
place. So we're like,
And we're in the back of the room.
So then I get up, and instead of continuing to talk like you should as a PowerPoint presenter, stops, dead stares at us like this until we left.
It was awful.
See,
Everyone, all 30 people, stop talking. So we're like getting out of this fast scanner without literally running, and it's like a full 12, 13 seconds of us like getting up, moving our chair. Bye.
yeah.
And then we
then
left, and we went across the hall, and we're like, "Oh, there's our meeting," and we colored a picture and left.
How did you leave? I would have stayed. I was like, I'm here for good, and we're learning about horses today, boys, because that's just what we're doing. I'll pay the club.
I wasn't paying money.
I'll pay the club fee if I have to.
Funny story looking back, but
That is funny.
quite
So awkward.
But
Oh, well.
it was an experience, so
College experience.
put yourself out there.
College is weird,
There's so many groups.
Yeah.
You want to do like sword fighting on the weekends in jousting costumes.
Lord.
You want to dress up as Halo characters, do that. You want to play on soccer, there's like 18 groups for that.
Right.
I would say that you can find people at college. It might not be instantaneous that you're going to click with a certain group or someone, but like if you put yourself out there a little bit, it's not easy. You're not going to just like fall into like a group you like, but I think there's a club for about anything.
A few really important notes on finding friends. I think specifically, like my experience was a little different because I didn't bring like as many friends up there. Like I didn't live with. I guess Bryce went first semester.
That's I always forget about that.
But I don't know. So we kind of hung out. It was nice to kind of know somebody, but I had a lot more like you're by yourself, and my whole like first semester was like I need a new best friend. I don't know why that was in my head.
Yeah.
But anytime I met someone like I kind of knew, I just wanted that to be like a real friendship before it was. And I was always so uncomfortable with that. Like, oh, I just met you. Let's get lunch together. Let's talk. And then I'm like, okay, but we're not. It was weird. And I tried so hard to say, well, I left my soccer friends, my high school friends, my parents, like everybody. We all scattered, And then it was like, well, this kid in class could be my best friend. Oh, he's weird.
Yeah.
Or, oh, he's really cool, but we don't talk out of class.
Right, we just don't.
And I wasn't okay with that for a long time, so it was really hard to try to, find that new friend. So.
Yeah, for me, the only experience I've had with being on my own and like, so when I went to Summit for 2 weeks in South Carolina, it's like a church camp type thing, but a lot more deep in whatever, and for older people too. And so I went to that, and it was like a 2 week, thing. You're on your own completely. And I was really nervous beforehand. I think I talked to you about it a little bit, but just like I don't know what I'm gonna do. Every time I've gone anywhere like that, like a camp or anything, like I've had a friend, I've had people like you or my brothers, whatever it is. Like I've always had somebody. It's just the first time I was completely on my own. And I do really bad, and I feel like in social situations on my own. Like I don't talk a lot, which is weird because I talk a lot, right?
It's so weird to me when you say that because, like, I kind of believe you because I've seen you around a couple people that made you uncomfortable, and it's hilarious because in most cases I'm with you and it's not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, I'm with my friends John and Drew or something, and then we add another person, and you're very normal-ish. And then like we get in a situation where like let's say I know 4 people,
Yeah.
and I go talk to them. And, like, I just notice when you get awkward, and I find that really funny.
See, it's so weird, because literally if I have one friend in the group
Yeah.
of a million people,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm completely fine.
Right.
No issues, you know?
Yeah.
And I could talk to, just to think about work, you know? I could talk to anyone there, because I was, like, kind of talking to you at the same time. So it's like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I kind of do this on my own completely. And I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I was like, it was weird, because I did really well, actually.
Yeah.
I told myself, I was on the plane right before I landed, and I was like, you know what? Because I was nervous. I was getting really nervous, and I was like freaking out. I was like, you know what? I don't care what happens. Like I'm gonna put myself out there. You know, I'm gonna change how I act around people because I do really bad with people. I don't care. I'm just gonna say hi to people. I'm gonna play games. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna do whatever. And so it was cool because like the first, how they did it was you get off the plane and there's like a group of people waiting to like shuttle them to the camp or whatever. And so everybody's getting off the plane and is kind of just milling around. And so like, I got there, like, oh, hey, I'm Wes. And they're like, oh, good, like, this is for Summit, so if you're, yeah. And so I, like, sat down with this group of kids, or, like, whatever, like, college students and stuff. And immediately I was like, all right, this is I gotta do it. Like, this is where I'll make or break it for myself. Like, either I'm going to be really weird and, like, quiet, or I'm going to, like, put myself out there and talk. So I did, and I, like, talked to all these kids, I was, like, talking to them, I was, like, out carrying the conversation and all that stuff. And eventually I ended up introducing myself and talking to every single person at the camp. Like, that was there's like 220 kids. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to talk to every single person here. So I did. But the difference between that, my point is, it's interesting.
There's a point here?
Yes. It's interesting because in that situation versus college, I feel like it's a lot easier to have a deeper connection and a, like, just like a deeper connection with somebody and true friendship at that sort of experience because it was a very Christian and college, not college, but like a deep camp, right? And we like had these really rough conversations, all these different things throughout the like 70 hours of lectures that we had in the 2 weeks, right? And so it's like really easy at that point. You're like, well, we've already talked about these super like serious and deep topics because we were forced to like go hang out and get Wendy's, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's interesting how easy it was to make friends in that, but then in like the real world and college, where it's like a similar situation where you're put on your own to like figure it out, it's like really hard to make friends because there's just no, I feel like there's just not a starting point of a deep connection there. You have to like work on that, and then when it gets there, it's fine. But
there's a couple things that factor into that, I think.
Yeah.
First being like in that situation, everybody's kind of looking for a friend.
Right.
Because you all are there.
Right.
You know, college
We're all
starts
alone,
the same way, but you don't have the same interests. So you already have,
Right.
you know, I'll say opportunity,
Yeah.
someone looking for that friend. You have like-mindedness.
Oh, yeah.
And you have consistency for hanging out at the entire time for 2 weeks.
Right.
You don't get a break from each other. And along with that, you have, what did I say? Consistency, opportunity, intimacy.
yeah,
Whatever. Anyway, you have all those things.
Right.
That's a big deal. And like,
Oh,
okay,
for
here's
sure.
what you have.
100%.
You go to class, you have 50 minutes.
right.
You want to say hi? They're like, I don't want a friend.
Yep.
I'm not talking to you.
Yep.
And if you start and you're like, wow, we had a great talk. That was fun. Now what? Oh, you know, class is over. Come pick up that conversation in 2 days. That's not happening.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's a big reason why college is different. That's why finding a like-minded group, whether it's an interest in, you know, sword fighting club or religious groups,
Or sorority. Sorry.
Is that like mindedness?
Or
Is that like
religious-
mindedness though?
Yeah. I mean, we have a philanthropy.
I don't care about your stupid philanthropy thing. What does that have to do with it? No.
we donate money.
Okay.
I feel like being in sorority is not
is
a like-minded. Like
I think it brings opportunity and a little bit of camaraderie because you say we are
Alpha
blank.
Kappa
You're a
Kappa
team.
Kappa.
without a
We are Alpha Chi Omega and not Alpha Kappa Kappa. You have association and you have opportunity. That's
Yeah.
it. There's no consistency or intimacy. I don't think that's what most people in sororities are looking for. I think they might get there.
Like,
But
No, they're not looking
I do
for
have
friendship.
a point.
Intimate friendships.
okay, right.
On both of those points. Were you still talking?
Done now.
No, continue.
I don't know.
He was not
I didn't
talking.
mean to
He was not
interrupt.
talking
I don't know
more.
what to say.
I didn't mean to interrupt. But I think my biggest advice, and the more I've talked to people, even from different colleges, I just had a lunch with a friend last week who's super shy. When I knew her, and then
Who?
my friend, I'm not gonna expose her. My neighbor.
I thought so.
Okay. Was super shy back in like when we were childhood. Okay, stop sign language over here.
I was like, it's definitely not that one, bro.
Yeah, I was like,
super
Okay.
shy.
Super shy
That's
back. Super shy back when we were friends, and
Okay.
she really broke out of her shell like into high school, college. Realizing that the biggest thing, no one cares. Like truly, no one cares. I think what I've realized in college is that like, just talk to the person next to you, or like, because next week you don't have to sit by them if it was bad, or like be that kid in class who's loud, because at the end of the day you're probably not going to see half those kids again, and if they didn't like you, you'll find a new group of people who like you. Like
I disagree. I had 3 years of a person in the same class, and they drove me insane.
Well, they
and
were-
we had a debate in 3 classes, and I won all of our debates, mostly because I just did not like this person.
okay, well that's
That's-
a different situation. I'm saying
They were loud and annoying.
I'm saying though, like, put yourself out there in the sense of like, just like have awkward moments. You're gonna have those of like, I remember I turned behind to the person in line with me, and it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing, like what's going on, and like
Yeah.
we sparked a conversation. I didn't see them since, but it's like, you don't have to I feel like in high school a lot of things matter, like the way you dress or the way that conversation happened. They're still gonna remember that because you go through all of high school with this person. But in college, like, I wear my pajamas to class half the time and no one cares what I look like.
Yeah.
I just think as you grow up you realize like it's hard freshman year to be like none of that matters, but it really doesn't. You'll find people that care and you'll find people who don't, and at the end of the day, like, the more you just talk to people, the more you'll find those people who you should surround
I
yourself
agree.
with.
Because Drew, I disagree with.
No, I do actually agree.
Well,
On
I'm
both
saying,
sides.
even your point of like that one person who you find annoying, because there's people like that, in all your classes, or you know what I mean. You'll probably have somebody like,
Yeah.
they're a darn person, but in that situation, like Drew, like you don't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
And so that's the interesting thing, I think, to that, because your point's right. Like the people that matter
Don't mind.
don't mind and don't really care, right? So like it doesn't matter if Drew thinks I'm annoying,
Sure.
because after next week, or when I graduate, I'm never seeing Drew again, and I simply don't care. But like the people who I do care about and I want to be liked by, like, they're not gonna really care all that much if I'm loud, or that's what they want. They want the loud person, where Drew wants the quiet person, right? And that's fine. We have our like preferences and friends and different things, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I think
no,
that
I genuinely do. agree.
I know you do. I just
And I think people really just want to meet authentic people, because I think when you leave high school, at least I went to a public school, they didn't. Homeschoolers. But they just want someone who's authentically themselves. I think it's hard that you want to like still be that popular kid or still be that kid who's like cool, but like
yeah.
it just doesn't matter. And the more like I'm weird, and the more that you just are yourself, like people appreciate that more.
And you'll find the people that are, because I think that is the interesting thing about college, is that it's outside of the clickiness of high school, right?
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
the popular, whatever, there's these groups of people, and if you're the weird kid, you're always the weird kid throughout high school. Where, like, I feel like college, there's, like, the weird football, like, the jocks, the football people, whatever. It's similar groups, but, like, it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're kind of weird, because you don't ever have to interact with the football people, right?
Yeah.
Where in high school, it's a lot more intimate.
And honestly, I think it's a little bit funny, but I felt like the kids who were football players, or like popular kids,
Yeah.
popular girls, are a little bit outcast in college, because like it doesn't matter so much now,
Right.
that it's embarrassing that you still care as much as you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, I was the football star in, Jumbo, and there's
Yeah.
like 8 people there,
Yeah.
no one cares.
Yeah.
If you're the football star in, your college's football team, you're still kind of cool.
Right.
But if you played high school for your D5 high school, like, no one cares.
But it's interesting too, because I still like it. I feel like it's still, even if like you're a star football guy in college, it's not as big of a deal as it was
No,
in high school.
I mean, I know one soccer player,
I
and
would
it's because he went to UC. I mean, he was good.
I would say too, you're
And fluffy
not
hair.
singularly labeled in college.
Yeah.
Like I could be the girl that you're chem partners with, but I could also be in a sorority and I could also be in film club. You don't know that about me. Like, unless we
Yeah.
talk, but like
Yeah.
I just think you're a lot more that like I probably have classes with some of our really good athletes, but I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
I don't pay attention to that. We're just like classmates. So I
Right.
just think you're not as like
If I see
label
someone
as
in
one
class
thing.
who's like 6'7", I'm like, they're probably on the basketball team.
Right.
And that's about all I know about.
Like, if you become friends with them, it could be a topic of conversation, but it's not
Yeah.
like the first thing you notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it just, like, I feel like I keep up more with my, like, high school drama still than I do with anything that's ever happened in college. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, so-and-so's pregnant, or, like, this
Yeah.
thing's happening.
I
Like,
know
but
you
they're
mean.
all the high school people. Like,
Yeah.
it's no one that, now in college, I'm just like, okay, they're living their life. They can do what they want.
Right. I don't know. That's interesting. It's weird. Yeah, I would definitely say, yeah, like don't let it get you. If I think that high school can be like or college can be like a fresh start, and I think it's okay if it's not that for you, and if you don't make like lifelong friendships, that's all right. You know, you'll find that, but it doesn't have to be in college. Because I think that is the thing that
Yeah.
is like tough too if you go to college and like, well, it's supposed to be this, but it's not. You know, and, like just it's okay. Like settle down, enjoy your time learning and doing that, but don't freak out if you don't have.
And another point to make, you'll hear a million times, you're not going to be friends with your high school friends anymore. And realistically, you probably won't. But if you are, there's nothing wrong with that. And
Yeah.
that's a big thing too. Like, they're going to, like, this feeling of like, they're going to leave or I shouldn't be friends with them. Those are big, dumb ideas.
Yeah.
If you are, great. Don't expect to be. I mean, I haven't think of our soccer team, 26 of us.
Yeah.
I've talked to 3 of them twice in 4 years. You know what I mean?
And half them we saw on the golf course the other day, and that's the only reason why.
So, you know what I mean? I won't talk to them again.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that objectively. But if you have a close friend you want to keep, you're like, oh no, we're out of high school. We can't be friends anymore. That's a stupid idea.
Right.
When I think a big thing you talk about, Drew, is just in life in general, there's not a lot of shoulds and shouldn'ts. Like, college
Yeah.
can be what you want it to be,
Sure.
but you're not expected, like, it's not like you should have friends. It's not like you should be
Yeah.
doing this. It's like, you can kind of do whatever you want. You can be disconnected from college life if that's not really what you want, or you can, go on and get a job. A lot of people don't go to college. Like, it's what you make of it, though. If you want to get a lot out of it, you can, but you don't have to get everything out of it. if
Or
that
the
makes
or
sense.
the same things that
Or
everybody else
other
gets out of
people
it.
are, yeah.
Here's a big should, though. If you're going to college, you should get a lot of out of your education. At least try in school.
Try in school, if all else
Yeah.
fails. I think an interesting thing before we wrap up, Drew, because to me it's interesting because the high school friend point that you had made about you're not gonna be friends with your high school friends, and whatever, so doesn't matter. I think that if you are given the opportunity to stay friends, why don't you, right? And that's what happened to me, to us. And like I'm solely friends with people I knew in high school. There's nobody really that I'm like super good friends with that I met after that. You know what I mean? Like my sole group of friends are people I have known for the majority of for over half my life. And I think that I'm happy with my friendship, so why would I these aren't like don't expect it to go bad and like throw it all away when you don't need to, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
like I love my group of friends, and I have no desire to make like I need new friends. Like, oh my gosh,
Right.
I'm happy, so I'm not gonna like if there's somebody I meet, I'm like, oh, you're really sweet. Grace's boyfriend Sam, I love him. He's great. I hope we become good friends because he's a really nice guy, and I'm like, cool. But like I'm not searching actively like I need to make more friends and stuff because nobody likes me and blah, blah, blah. Like be content in what you have and who you know as well, I think is okay.
You can find happiness in college, but all of your happiness doesn't have to come from college.
Yeah, it probably shouldn't.
No, definitely not.
All right. So any other final?
Education's good too. We didn't really touch much on the education side of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But my one point to education is a degree is a degree, so don't always think you have to go to the best of the best, or like a community college degree is great, college from Harvard's great, college from a community college. Like, as long as you're putting yourself out there and like enjoying what you're doing, it doesn't really matter where you're at. So don't get looked down on for picking one choice over the other.
Yeah.
I guess.
Go to the school that's gonna be
Fit
the best
you.
experience overall. You know?
Lastly, B's get degrees. I know they say C's and D's, but realistically,
And my case,
I think
F's.
my very last point, and probably the only thing I'll say about education itself, is like, if you are the perfectionist, get a B. It'll change your life.
Yeah.
It really will. Because there's nothing dumber than a letter grade in most cases. It doesn't
I'm feeling
matter.
signaled out right now.
It's not. But there are cases where you really need it. If you need a 3.5 to get your GPA, to keep your scholarships, worry about it a little bit. Do your studying. If you can say at the end of the day, I did the best I could for the time being.
Yeah.
Don't make excuses. Just do the best you can. If you do and you get a B, that's the best thing that will ever happen to you.
It does generally work out.
Because
In most cases.
there genuinely are professors who just go, I don't give A's.
I mean, I walked into a class at Ohio Northern, and I will call them out. My professor said only 2 people in this class get an A, 6 of you get a B, and everyone else gets a C or fails. No one got a D. Anyway, he said only girls are getting an A. 2 girls get an A. I don't want to be sexist. I walked into a class I could not get a B, or I could not get an A. I got a B. Nothing I can do about that.
Right.
So if that's the case that's what you get. Don't let it ruin your life.
Which kind of goes back on your point of like, you get more value out of it than just the education.
I learned nothing in the class. I managed to get a B. Some class you just get through because they're absolutely stupid. And sometimes you learn a lot instead. I mean, I learned so much in some classes and still got a B. I got A's in classes and didn't learn much of anything. So,
but both of you have jobs, and I'm sure didn't always get straight A's, so it works out. You don't have to.
No, I didn't graduate with honors or anything. I mean, I coasted through college, and that's just what I did. And I have my job. I like it. So
most job people, what is it called? Hiring people? I don't know. Don't look at your like
GPA.
Your transcript. They're not like, why'd you get a B in a RIT class? Like,
there's very, very few that will.
Yeah.
Grad schools might. If you plan to go to grad school, try to get a 3.5.
Yeah, that's true.
What matters so much more, we'll cover this later, grad schools. Yeah. What matters so much more is letters of recommendation. You could have a 3.0 and get letters of recommendations. You'll get in.
All right, well, good points. Thanks, guys. Let us know if you have any questions. Leave it below. Please share with all of your friends. We got a special guest on, so you got to share. That's just how the rules work.
Our friends are my friends are your friends.
I know, that's the crappy. It sucks when it's like your group of people is watching the video. It's like, oh, come on, man. That's why I want to have guests on so that more people, like, their friends watch it, but then you are friends with your friends. Okay. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. We will catch you next week. Peace. Thanks.
Peace and love.